but it's in fact the strongest weapon in the world is the US dollar. So I think it's important to go through this topic to understand exactly the functionality of the world's reserve currency, which is the US dollar, the gold standard, and the petrodollar agreement, and the QE phase that we're going through at the moment, and we have been going through for quite some time, and what's going to happen next with it. Now, after World War I in 1945, when all the other countries around the world were suffering from financial losses because of the World War, America was the only country that was actually prospering, which was due to their mass production of the weapons that were supplied during the World War II. So what happened, because due to that, America after World War II finished was the strongest country, both financially and militarily, and all the other reasons why a country becomes a superpower. Therefore, they decided that US dollar was obviously the strongest currency and had being the strongest country, had the most amount of gold as well in the world. But there would have been a certain amount of thousands of metric tons of gold that they would have had in their reserve, through which they pegged their US dollar to the gold, and all the other currencies like the pound, the euro, the yen, and all the other currencies in the world would all be pegged to the US dollar, which were indirectly pegged to the gold, because the US dollar was pegged to the gold. So Richard Nixon, at the time of that depletion of gold, Richard Nixon was the President of the United States, and he decided and announced that gold will no longer be used as an instrument to measure the value of a currency. Now, petrodollar agreement was another classic move by US to make US dollar to hold their position as the strongest country in the world, but also hold their position, the US dollar's position as the supreme currency in the world, to be the reserve currency. But with that also, US decided that instead of having, like I said, in the international support, which they already had, and gold, they decided that the gold, instead of that, at the same time, they dismantled the pegging of gold, and they replaced it with something called the petrodollar agreement, because of which the oil around the world will be only traded with US dollar, because again, it was one of the strongest currencies.